Tomorrow's Today.
I want to welcome you guys to the show. This is the first official show with our first official guest for
Heavy Artillery.
I am your host, the Dux Fox, and I'm here joined with my lovely wife,
the Spy Fry.
the Spy Fry. Hope you guys are having a good evening here. We are having a blast, and we have done quite a bit of homework to make sure that we have gotten ready for our first guest and to make sure that your viewing experience today is a lot crisper than the first little pilot episode that we had. So we had a lot of effort in this, and we hope to bring to you a great and much more prosperous product than we did last time.
Indeed.
Definitely a learning experience. We had an Echo. We now have a mixing board, and we have all sorts of things in place to help make sure that things don't happen like last time, like accidental mutes. Yeah, so now that we have that. We also have the bird out, so we aren't going to have in the background.
Well, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, yeah, absolutely. So, on behalf of the first show for the Heavy Artillery, I want to invite you all to meet our first guest. He is a gentleman out in Oklahoma. We'll call him our first recruit to the Heavy Artillery. He's from Oklahoma now. He has been, brought up and raised inside of the Philippines. He's been doing art ever since he's been 7 years old. And he's been part of the furry fandom now since college. Man, those transition years, right? Mm-hmm. Tell me about it. Since then, he's been doing all sorts of different art from all sorts of different mediums. Right now, he's focused on graphical arts. And a lot of the stuff that you're seeing right now is his end result of getting into graphical design.
Prize pieces.
Prize pieces, indeed.
Yes.
Very talkable, very relatable. They really do evoke a lot of detail. And we want you all to say hello to Mr. Fleety. How are you doing, Fleety?
Welcome, Fleety.
Welcome. It's a pleasure to be your first guest.
Yeah, pleasure to have you. Thank you for coming on today.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I know
I'm
it was
a little tired for flying in.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Got to throw that one in there, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha. So, we have been looking over a lot of this different stuff that you've been doing, and definitely it's very befitting of our show. The whole show for Heavy Artillery, as I mentioned to you before, and for the sake of our listeners, is very much about the discovery of art, the appreciation of art, and everything that goes into it, from conceptualization, design, to the way it's portrayed, the mood, the tone that it sets and besets within the listener or the watcher or whomever it is at that point.
And creating connections between artists and enthusiasts.
Exactly. So that those who are aspiring to become artists know exactly what some of the trials and tribulations are. Oh, no, Spirey's computer just crashed. It's okay. No worries.
Keep going.
So, in the meantime, I will show you Mr. Fleety. We'll go over to his screen real quick while we get that all fixed up. Luckily, we can still hear Spirey thanks to this setup that we've done.
Huzzah.
Huzzah! Man, that would have sucked too, your microphone going off
I
at
know,
that
right?
point.
But I'm still here.
Yeah. I wonder what
Poor
caused that. Oh, well,
Clumpy.
we'll have to investigate what caused it to trip
It's
off.
overclocked.
I guess. I don't know. Anyhow, so what we have before you, or what we were scrolling through earlier, was a lot of his pieces. I say, first of all, how are you doing, Fleety?
I'm doing great. Excited to be here.
Absolutely. You have definitely shown a lot of excitement for it, and we're very happy that you can see like what some of your efforts have paid off to be able to be on this show.
Right.
So that said, tell us a little bit about yourself that I haven't covered. I hit the Philippines. I hit the since age 7. Tell us about like where your upbringing was. Tell us about the Philippines when you were brought over there.
Oh, well, I was born and raised in the Philippines. The upbringing was unique, we'll just put it that way, living in a third world country. You get used to a lot of things that people aren't, don't even think about over here in the U.S.
Yeah, like balut.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. My dad likes it. I'm not a fan.
I just think it's funny because, like, when I was in Japan, not to steal the spotlight here, but when I was in Japan, it was notorious for having a lot of Filipino soldiers overseas to Japan because that was the cheapest way to get airfare back to the Philippines. And, like, the best way you can tell to see who's true Filipino and who's not, according to themselves, not from me, is to see who enjoys a good round of balut. And for
There's
those,
that.
for those who are blessed to not know what balut is, let's just say it's like having eggs over easy, except
No.
except that the fetal occupant has developed a little bit, and there's still yolk inside. So you can imagine what that sort of dining experience
poor
is like.
cousin had the worst displeasure of having to try one.
Indeed. I have not done it myself. I don't know if I'm ever going to do it. Can't say I will never do it because I like doing weird foods sometimes. I mean, if I'm a sucker for hot sauces, what's to stop me from doing weird foods, right? Yeah. So, back to the Philippines.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It's a very different culture. Everyone's friendly. More about trying to help each other. They're more out there. They have less guarding. They're not so worried about deceiving people. Well, let me take that back. It just depends, case by case.
I will admit on the carefree part, there's definitely a carefree nature. When I was over in Manila, there was we were going in towards Manila from the base, and we had to cut through a lot of the back alleys to get into Manila's main streets because just the way the city's designed. And we went through all the neighborhoods, and you could see where all the kids were at because they were all half naked, right outside of the fire hydrants, just playing in the water.
Yep.
So
Yep.
You can't unsee that.
Nope. Very carefree.
Yeah, very carefree, very safe in their own environment, from what I can gather from my experience over there. So you moved away from the Philippines to where now?
When we left the Philippines, or at least by the time I left from the Philippines, my brother and sister had already parted ways with the family halfway through my childhood to do their own things. I first landed and took residence up in Washington State on Whidbey Island, as that was the primary location of the primary church that was funding my parents during their mission work.
And if I recall correctly, that's when you started getting influences from your grandmother who brought your artistic talents in tow? Or was that someone else?
No. There was really no influences. What kind of happened was during my first attempt at college, somebody said, "Hey, you draw anthro furry art." And growing up in the Philippines, I'm like, what in the world's a furry? This is just something I've been drawing because, cartoons, media, comics, and all that. There's anthro creatures, including sci-fi. So it's like, cool, I draw anthro stuff.
There you go.
As soon as the F word came out, not the bad one, the good one, and the invitation to my first furry convention, everything changed. And I'm like, oh my.
Well, when you get into that deep of the pool, it's hard to really go back from there.
Well, I wasn't even allowed to go into the shallow, and it was like, here, come down to this convention for 3 days, and I was just like basically dropped in the deep end.
Exactly. You know what they say, if you're going to get warmed up to the pool really quick, you just do a cannonball in the deep end, right?
Yep,
there you go.
So after being in Washington for 14 years and work kind of, drying up and trying to figure out things, I moved down to Oklahoma to help my sister out with some things.
Gotcha. And that's where you are now?
Yep, that's currently where I am.
Indeed. So I think one of the strongest points that most artists have is the realization that they're basically going to embark on some hard times. That said, it's hard for an artist of any kind to just go straight into art and make that their primary means of making money or being able to survive. What kind of background do you have regarding getting by in order to continue doing your art?
As we call the 9-to-5 slave slog.
Indeed.
Lovely.
And I agree with that. It's very hard to go full freelance. Those that are very successful in it these days, they'll even tell you there are some days where it gets kind of iffy.
Mm-hmm.
Because art is so subjective, depending on how people look at it and whether they want to buy it or not. So sometimes you just kind of have to, pull up the granny panties and go, okay, got to go find, some regular mundane work.
True. Absolutely.
As for me, the majority of my work was veterinary medicine in Washington because I have a passion with animals and things. I was able to work there. But after a while, in such a caring and high stress environment, burnout happens. So I kind of meandered from veterinary work to janitorial work at a Kmart at one point, stocking at a Walmart. I had the pleasure of actually helping for 3 years a company that makes pet wheelchairs for disabled pets called Canine Carts.
Oh, yeah. I've actually seen a few of those.
And I actually had to order one for my previous corgi who passed away 2 years ago because he was having issues. And it was so ironic that I used to work for that company for 3 years and then turn around and it's like, I have to order a cart from you guys.
So not only am I an employee, but now I am a customer.
Yep. And after that, mostly I was just trying to find work that wasn't going to be so heart-wrenching because the medical field, no matter which way you go with humans or animals, it is heavily emotionally invested. Even if you're not playing such a big role as like a nurse, a doctor, a vet or something, you still have that heavy investment. You can't just leave it alone. It doesn't stay at work.
Especially when you have to deal with folks who, they know that the best thing to do for their animal is to, sometimes just to let them go and to let them go down, and being able to administer the shot in order to help them ease their pain. That's never a comfortable situation. That's never a situation I would want on anybody, but it unfortunately in your atmosphere of veterinary care, that was a common, every other day occurrence? It
just depended. Certain parts of the year would go up, certain parts of the year would go down, and having been in the room helping and assisting various veterinarians through both Washington and Oklahoma, I've gone through probably 10 or 12 of those, and after a while, it gets to you. But that's what put me on the path of everyone's like, well, why don't you go back to college? Try again. Because the first attempt at college was basically, I'm going to try to be a vet. And that kind of fell through, and that learned the lesson that most people will learn if they haven't learned already, because people don't really teach things about money and credit cards very well. And when you go to college and you're also trying to work, you tend to try to live off of credit cards if you don't know things very well. Mm-hmm. And I learned that lesson the hard way, which is why
it's a hard lesson to learn.
To this day, it's like, nope, debit card as far as I go. I am not touching another one of those plastic things ever again. But I tried my second stab at college over further south on Whidbey Island after I moved down away from the main city that my parents were in. And it was more of a case of I'm not sure how many artists out here are going to sympathize or know the struggle, but when you're dealing with numbers and math and they start throwing letters in and then they start trying to do more complex equations with it and you start stressing out and you start seeing everything flip-flop and go backwards. Mm-hmm. My attempt at I'm going to be an engineer went to, okay, aim lower. Okay, well, what do I want to aim lower for? Because I really don't want to get into retail. Foreshadowing. But they said, you like doing art. You're very detailed. You're kind of almost OCD on the detail. But why don't you try drafting? So I went into mechanical drafting. And after 3 years and graduating, that led me into working for two companies. One where I was doing precision. I was basically designing the entire process of taking a slab of metal and milling it into precision gears for a variety of applications, from civilian use all the way to military use. Mm-hmm. And then the next company, I was actually helping them for about 2 years, designing and improving the industrial steam cleaning units you see in the steam cleaning vans for various companies out in the U.S. Coit's one of them, Hydra Master, Steam Master, various different ones. Zero Res, which is very popular down here in Oklahoma.
All sorts of different projects that you worked on then.
And then I came to Oklahoma.
And that's where it ended.
And this where the foreshadowing came, because again, tried to reignite the veterinary passion, and again hit that burnout.
Right.
Mm-hmm. For a while.
We actually got a comment here from Nimoi, and they said that that's the exact reason that they could never be a vet or nurse. They're far too emotional when it comes to animals, and they would break down.
That's our friend Nev, by the way.
Yep. I agree with that. And like I said, it takes a special kind of person for any kind of medical work.
Absolutely.
it'll get you.
Just to say, too, for those in chat, if you have questions that you'd like to ask for the experience of Fleety here, by all means, list your questions or your comments. We love interactivity, so be a part of the show. We welcome it. We'll make sure that we take little breaks to get your questions in as well.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So let's transition now to your trade and your craft.
Well,
All right.
after you've spoken about your experience in the animal industry, would you say a lot of that has translated into what's influenced your direction for your art?
Oh, heavily. A lot of the anthro designs for Lupinacei or anyone's anthros out there, I've got a little bit more of a handle on the anatomy because I've been around animals so much, and I have pets around me too. And it was so funny. My Aussie Siberian Husky Shepherd I had a long time ago in Washington, she influenced the head design of most of my Lupinacei. And then when I came down to Oklahoma and had my corgis, the design changed a bit, and everyone could notice. It's like, why did your style change? It's like, well, my style didn't change. My living reference changed.
I like that. I like that you have like real life connections to your work.
We
as
actually
well.
do the same thing with our comic too, with the way that we do character designs of who's doing what. Our daughter is actually in the comic as well, and she's a little hyena girl in some of the pictures that we've portrayed for her. And then when we picked up Kirill, our Siberian Husky, we decided that he would be a playmate
She
for.
needed a buddy.
Yeah, that she would have
Yeah.
a buddy. So that's where that one picture we showed you. We'll put up a picture of that probably in post so that people know what we're talking about. So just for reference, when you're saying Lupinacei, could you explain what you mean by that? I'm sure that some people can understand what you mean by lupin, but when you're talking about that form, what exactly are you meaning when you describe that?
Oh, that is a hard one because that's a question I have struggled with for 9 years ever since working on them.
Well, give it a roundabout explanation.
Okay.
We don't need to go into like the history and
Right,
biology and stuff. Just a general idea of the precipice of what makes them that particular race for you.
I guess the quickest, easiest summary is it's my take on what happens when modified humans try to play God themselves and create anthros as workforce, and that's where the Lupinacei come from. Is basically humans tinkering with, let's throw onto a human wolf genes, some domesticated dog genes, and add in some, lycanthropy or werewolf, or that good old mythic bite. So I guess with the Lupinacei, for me, it really comes down to more their history, their culture, their world setting. Most of my Lupinacei, when I've shown people, they kind of look at it and go, okay, it's another anthrocanine / werewolf or whatever. There's nothing really unique, and trying to make them look unique has proven difficult because then they go from acceptable unique to, oh my goodness, hit it with fire. What did you just draw? I tried.
I noticed that you're using the term anthro. We typically use that for our work as well. What makes you decide to say anthro versus furry art?
Oh, that's another good question. Like I said, growing up in the Philippines, not having known about furry, and the people I've stayed with in Washington were like, huge science fiction, science fantasy enthusiasts. I'm afraid to say nerd, but okay, well, it's out now.
You can use nerd. We're definitely in that category.
We're nerdy.
And
Absolutely.
they love reading the books, and I guess all the various sci-fi movies I've seen and sci-fi games and all that. Anthropomorphic was just the term that was used the most, and it got me going, okay, anthro is more acceptable across multiple genres. It doesn't make anyone feel uncomfortable, because after I learned about the furry culture and got into it for several years, I started noticing that the word furry kind of picked up some trends in different genres that were
Indeed,
not
yeah. We noticed
polite.
that too
Yeah,
in
we
our
noticed it
experience.
for sure, and that's on a similar precipice as to why we tend to say anthro as opposed to furry. While we understand it doesn't have this, it tends to carry extra baggage just because of things in public for green eyes to go out inside of the mainstream media and the bad representations they have, i.e., CSI and stuff like that, the shows that do
Oh,
that.
goodness, yes.
Yeah. You can't go anywhere without getting the reference to the CSIs and furries. So, but for us, we definitely wanted to say that Anthro fits our style and absolutely fits your style better than furry does.
And that's what I was going to say is most people, even in role-playing forums, when I've done pictures and portraits for stuff to give people a better glimpse at the different worlds I'm doing, have looked at me, especially in like just the general lobby chats where no one's RPing, so anyone can say whatever, and people just start doing the whole, okay, grab the pitchforks and torches, there's a furry among us, and several people actually jumped in before I could say anything. It's like, go look at his gallery, and after 5 minutes to come back, it's like, okay, we were mistaken. That's okay. We were thinking you were doing like 2D, animated cartoon characters humping people and stuff. And
No, and
your
your
stuff
work
is
is so detailed too. All the details tell a little
So-
story in each of your pictures.
So that's why I'm not too worried about if someone says furry, because I can just go, okay, well, if you go look at my artwork, I'm pretty sure you'll change your opinion. And I use Anthro because I'm around a lot more people, especially down here in Oklahoma. I'm in an area where there's not much of a fandom, at least in the Wacomas Enid area toward Oklahoma City. There's that. So I kind of pick and choose it. And as you were talking about the CSI episode and all that, the funny thing is before my friend at college took me to the convention and even the first fur meet, she handed me a thumb drive full of video files, clips, and furry art, and go, okay, you need to educate yourself before you step into this so you know what you're getting into. And that was part of it, and several other things. I'm just
So
going,
that was your boot
what am
camp
I
before
getting
jumping
into?
into the pool. That's what that was right there. Welcome aboard, soldier.
It's a
Oh,
slap on the back.
Face, slap on
Yep.
the ass too. Maybe just
Yep.
right into the water. Here you go. So, going back
and
to the
the-
trade stuff. Sorry to cut you off, but going back to the trade stuff, since we're kind of deviating a little bit. I remember you talking about how you went into CAD drawing and drafting and stuff like that. What got you started on your art mediums? Where did you find your start in portraying your art?
Okay. Well, growing up in the Philippines, you just drew with whatever you had, which was paper, pencil, pen, crayons, the walls until mom yells at you. That's how I started with that. Was I was just used to, okay, drawing with pencil, drawing with pen. Most of it was a number 2 pencil from school and a ballpoint pen. If I was really feeling excited to complete something.
So would you say that kind of influenced some of the black and white photos that you've done as we scroll through them?
Some of them, yeah. That was basically getting into one after college the last time I went, because I went from that paper, pencil, and pen. And when I lived in Washington, after I moved down south, I stayed with a couple that were from California. The husband was a sci-fi nerd person, and he also liked doing silking. The other person was a traditional artist from one of the California schools there, and she liked that I was an artist. They sort of semi-adopted me as, a quote-unquote unofficial son, because they didn't have any kids. And she started saying, well, you can draw better if you use this or this. So she started pushing all kinds of different mediums for me to use, which got into the pastels, the chalks, watercolors, color pencils. Oh, my God, color pencils. Mm-hmm. And when I went to college for the CAD stuff, you always have that one niggling little quarter where you got all the credits you need for what you're supposed to take, but then there's that little gap going, you still need this many credits before we can, sign your paperwork for you to do the quarter, and so you have to pick an elective.
Absolutely. So
when I picked that elective, it was live figure drawing.
Gotcha. Yes. So let's start looking through some of the catalog items that you've submitted to us. What we like to do on the show is we like to show that everybody starts somewhere, and it's usually in a place where like their art isn't really fully developed yet. There's not a specific characteristic to it or style. That said, when I first saw this picture, I was like excited because I thought it was like a Biker Mice from Mars reference.
We've pulled up the Proto Lupe Chewy.
Yep, I've got that pulled up here on my art program too. I kind of figured that what you were going for when you started mentioning the biker mice on Mars. Yes.
Yeah, because when I was first looking at it, I couldn't tell where the ears were, and I thought like some of the circle design in it was like the ear going out. So I got excited because I thought I recognized one of those characters from Biker Mice from Mars. I think it was the gray. Was it the white one or the gray one? Either way, I was like, "Oh wow, he started from Biker Mice from Mars," and that's amazing to me. But that's not what actually happened.
Actually, it actually started out from reading a whole bunch of role playing novels. Dragonlance, you might know, if you've ever done tabletop gaming, kind of similar to D&D and Forgotten Realms. But I liked reading a lot of medieval fantasy books, and I loved armor, and so that's what inspired the start of this rabbit hole.
Now, would you say that this is kind of where you started getting your practice at getting as much detail into the subject that you are representing?
Oh, yes. Before this, and unfortunately, most of my artwork before this was damaged by mold, and it all had to be burned, and it was never captured. But yeah, this was the starting point, because this is probably just a year before we came back to the U.S., and I parted ways to stay here.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, this was the beginning of me trying to get into detail, and that's what a lot of people liked about it, was the detail.
Absolutely, and it definitely shows in this.
And as you can see, I don't know anything about anatomy at this point yet.
Not at this point. Proportions definitely do seem to be a little bit skewed, but for it being your first, I guess you could say, major piece, it's still got a lot to present and a lot to really consider over. Your eyes...
There's a lot of movement in this piece. You're drawn to different areas in the picture.
So if you were to look up the concept design for Jafar in Aladdin, if you were to look up an early design for him, he's actually a white and it's like a white and black design, but he's got all these small little intricate pieces to it that when the designers really looked at it, they saw the same problem that people who would look at it did, and that was that their eyes would keep jumping around and not being able to focus on one part of Jafar. That's why they decided to settle in on the red and black theme, because it's much simpler to look at and you're paying attention more to the face because it sticks out.
Right, the point of focus, yep.
Exactly. So the point of focus on yours does seem to jump around a lot. So what did you do to start focusing that with like your next picture?
Well, what's the next picture going to be? Then I can figure out how to answer that.
Sure. What do you think? Which picture was after this? Would you say it was your white fox-looking picture, the Amech heel head?
The Ami head is actually one of the more recent ones.
Oh, it's more recent. Okay.
Boy, okay, hang on here. We're going to do some technical magic here real quickly.
Yeah, let's get a look. We've got the same images that you do, so we're just kind of peeling through. Which would you say was next for you? What did you say was the Samurai Fleet one where you started getting into colored pencils?
The Samurai Fleet one was where I started getting better with the anthros and everything. So that'd be the best one to jump to next.
Okay, we're pulling that up right now. So tell us about when you were making this picture. What started getting you into this sort of style? What was going on that brought you to design this in this manner?
Well, I was taking martial art classes, like a lot of people probably do, and it's about 8 years after that first picture. So I've had a lot of progress messing with things, and point of view was something I didn't know about because I'm a self-taught artist. Outside of the one class in college, I've had no formal training. So the one friend that was in Washington that took an interest in me was starting to point at things, and this kind of shows where I was trying to make my character Fleety here the focal point. And as you were mentioning with the Jafar one, if you kind of have darker colors and then lighter contrast ones right on the character, your eyes go right there.
Exactly. So where did you want the color, or where did you want the viewer to mainly perceive in this image?
With this one, I think it was basically looking at how his clothing was.
Yeah, it does stick out with the bright, brilliant reds, and red is natural for like most people to look towards, just because of the aggressive nature it is compared to cool colors.
Yep, and then I was trying to go for the motion with the sword and the what was supposed to have been petals at that point.
Indeed. The posing for it, honestly, like it's pretty miraculous. You've done something that my wife loves doing, and that's portraying the legs in a digigrade style.
Yes.
She loves
Yeah.
doing that, and she loves portraying characters on her own side with a digigrade style. Do you prefer that rather than the bipedal?
I like the digitigrade style a lot better than the plantigrade, which is the normal human foot position, because I'm dealing with anthrocanines a lot, but even others like equines and all that. All of ours I've talked to also like the digitigrade design too, because it depends on the anatomy of, okay, are you going with an actual foot or are you going with a paw or a hoof? Because if it's a paw or a hoof, you've got less surface area to deal with for traction, so you got to rethink, okay, well, we can't just put this on a regular looking human leg because they're going to slip, fall, whatever.
That's a good point.
Very much.
And
so.
that's why the few that I have done plantigrade with human feet, it's because when talking to people, or if it's a world that I'm doing, it comes out as, okay, well, this is how the world evolved. It came from something that was already this way, and it just made more sense to not mess with features that already worked.
Gotcha. So let's start working it into your work habits on how you start portraying your art. What image do you have available that we have on our site that has some layers so we can start breaking down how you approach your drawings?
Oh dear. Okay, well, we can do the Night in the Woods one on May.
Okay.
So the Night in the Woods one that you have, that's a fan art that you have for the video game that came out, Night in the Woods.
Yep, that's the fan art I did. Let me go pull that one up real quick. Sorry,
Sure.
technical difficulties.
Quite all right. No, you're fine.
That was a really good game.
It was a very good game.
I didn't actually play it, but I did watch a streamer go through the entire story.
You watched like three streamers go through
I
it,
did.
right?
I had to rewatch it because I really enjoyed that one.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing about that is, I actually got interested in playing the game by watching a Let's Play as well from Playframe, and then one other group, and that's what got me interested in looking at Night in the Woods. And then when I got a hold of it, it's like that's all I did was play with it for a month. Almost a month and a half. I went through it 2 or 3 different times trying to get the different endings. And you play something that long enough, something's going to stick.
Absolutely. It
Okay,
almost
so
becomes
I've
an
got.
obsession at that point, right?
Yep, almost. That's
So-
kind of another reason why I don't play it anymore. It's like, okay, I've done that. Maybe in 2 more years we'll revisit Night in the Woods.
Yeah, revisit later on when the memory is no longer as searing into your brain, right?
Yep. So I've got.
Let's start taking a look at your process. Let's see like your bare roots, where you started from. What do we got?
Okay, this is going to probably kill people's eyeballs because of how bright the line art was.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, this was when I was using a Wacom tablet and the screen was all funky, so I had to make things brighter for me to see, and everybody else went, okay, dude, it's too bright. But this is how I usually start right here is if I'm inspired by something, I'll just start with just a very rough sketch, which is, of course, most people tell me this isn't considered a rough sketch, it's almost a finished sketch. But different opinions to me, unless it's...
Honestly, it makes sense because I know other people, like, what they'll do to start their image off it, just so it doesn't get bled into other things, and so they can see clearly where things lie in on their layers, is they'll actually use colors on purpose, and then they'll recolor it afterwards. I believe a friend of Jazza's for backgrounds, he does that same thing where he blocks out particular colors, knowing where they are in degree of this color is the farthest back, where this color is the closest front, and then he'll blend the colors in from there.
I like
Yep,
that.
and
That's
so...
very good
Oh, go ahead.
direction because that way your entire picture doesn't get muddied and you kind of have focus on certain objects that you've put in your scene.
I think one thing I've had difficulty too when I was trying to learn how to draw both on the Wacom and on the Surface that I had gotten was I would get lost sometimes just in my line art because of the black and white and
Right.
trying to sort through all that detail.
For sure.
And the way I did this is I drew each individual piece and then tried to see if they actually fit physically, because that's something that can happen with art if you're not careful, is your physical presence and spatial awareness can go a bit off in perspective. And so with this, I started out with, the old Rusted Hulk card, and that was a popular theme in Night in the Woods was vehicles and old derelicts everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went with, okay, well, I want to show like it's been there, like you see the memes on Facebook with the trees that grew into the vehicles and all that. And there's always got to be some shopping cart somewhere in a, almost deserted town, because it's just the way it is, it seems like. It's almost like a trope. So once I got those elements in, I'd go in and go, okay, well, let's show a little bit more about the Possum Springs area, and I chose the bridge because the bridge was very pivotal for Night in the Woods, because that was May coming into the city and then kind of going back out there to meditate before everything else happens. I'm not going to give any spoilers.
Yeah, no spoilers here.
The word. And so I just went, okay, well, the bridge is kind of iconic. So is the woods. The sign, Possum Springs, I thought was neat.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can see it real clearly in the game, and then of course also there's little tagger sprays in some areas of the city of Nuke Possum Springs. I'm like, that's perfect. Just have someone just go, no respect. We'll just put it right on the city sign. And then once I got this all figured out, I then put in May, and that helped me. All these elements helped me go, okay, these are all about this size, and May's kind of a small, kitty girl and all that. So she'd be about this size.
So you started factoring your proportions after you got the layout and the background set.
Yeah, a lot of people do their character first, and then we'll try to do the background. I used to do that, and then I noticed my backgrounds were always skewed, not right. So if you do it the other way, your characters fit a little bit better.
What are some of the other things that you learned through your process that you would think an up-and-coming artist might want to try to help define either their style or make their life easier when they're trying to portray something? Like, what did you learn aside from what we just talked about to get the proportions right for May? What else did you learn through this part of the piece that you think someone could benefit from?
I'm sure everybody has heard this. References will save your life.
Oh, hold on. If you're going to say that, let me just I have to get the proper voice for that.
References will save your life. Just like layers.
Yes. Yeah, that's the one thing all artists I've talked to have agreed on when they're learning how to do art and all that is, if you're uncertain about something, find photos. Just find photos and just sketch based off the photos a couple of times until it feels right.
Okay,
and
so
that'll give you more sense.
True question then. I guess pivotal question, maybe controversial question then, is using your reference right over the reference itself, I guess you could call copying, good or bad?
Okay. That's called tracing it in one way, and most artists I've talked to, when you're in your initial phases of learning how to draw and you're just trying to understand the concepts of layout, anatomy, proportions, and all that, if it's something you never done, you can trace over it to get a rough idea of, okay, this is how this all works together. And then what you do is you go on and you do another sketch without tracing over it. And it's okay to trace images if it's something that you're just experimenting with, you're testing with. But if it's something, it's one of those things but you don't want to really make that anything that you're going to show off in a gallery or something, because this is your practice sessions. These are your exercises. This helps you get better. And a lot of people have looked at some of my art and go, okay, well, you just basically copy this pose. It's like I've copied the general form, design, and flow of a pose, but things have been changed quite a bit.
Practice, okay. Final piece, no way.
Nope. And so that's why I'm telling people, if you look at the poses or any kind of references, it gets your mind to go, okay, this is how things relate in reality and how a body might move, how a vehicle or an object might look, how perspective, shading, it gives you the real world input, and then you can go, okay, now that I get this, I can go play with it.
Very good, very good. I'm glad you were able to put that into words for sure. So now that we have some of that element in place, how did we finish this? What would you tackle next with this framework you have in place?
So then what I'd go with here is I'd make another layer, and as you said, layers will also save your life as long as you remember which layer you're working on. Which
means that you need to name your
Speaking
layer.
And
of layers, you're very organized with your layers. I noticed.
Oh yeah, until I show my files to other artists, and they kind of go, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "Hey, it works."
Hey, one man's like myth, or not? That's not myth. Labyrinth. That was the word I was looking for. I got dyslexic there. One person's labyrinth is another person's straight away.
I was getting ready to say, "Hey, dude, man, I heard this artist. He had like 1,000 layers, and they're all in folders. The myth's out there somewhere. I know you'll see them at some point." But for this to keep going on, once this is in place, a lot of people will look at things they do and they're like, okay, but that's not kind of what I was looking. It's like, but wait, more, kind of like one of those infomercials. As I tell people, when I start doing, I call it inking because I'm using traditional art, and I'm trying to find another word to call it for when I start doing final actual line work. But what I'll do is I'll start here and I'll start tightening, and this is me doing the tightening phase, and I take away the rough sketches. You notice how the detail goes, and things are a little bit more rough and better. Textures are put in a little bit more, and as you probably noticed, there was a laptop before, and I realized, hey, she's missing a laptop. I think that would be kind of neat. I shoved in a laptop in there. It's canon. Nobody burned down my house, please. But it just made sense.
Well, this just goes to show, too, that in your process, while you're going through your phases and your method, being able to freeform during those methods is absolutely acceptable and should be frowned on.
And then once this is done, I go into coloring. And I know a lot of people, I know there's 1,000 different ways to color. What I'm showing is just a crazy way to make sense of a haystack. And what I'll usually focus on is I will go into starting out with flat colors, just dark colors, so I know, okay, this is the areas I'm working with. And then I'll start going in here, and I decide to do May and the tree first. I just decided to go, okay, we'll start getting in some of the colors I want to for like the shirt, the bag, the pencil she's holding. Go in a little bit more with the tree and some more accent colors and her boots. And then just keep going on, start working with the laptop. And then by the time you're done, you've got May, the laptop, and the tree where I want it for the flat colors. And by flat colors, if anyone's not sure, flat coloring is when you're just coloring everything for the tone and the value, but you've done no shading, there's no lighting, there's nothing dynamic. It's the colors that you're going to see straight up front, unadulterated.
Indeed.
So once you get May and go ahead, sorry.
Oh no. I was going to actually phrase that once you get your main subject and whatever else that you have from there, how do you decide where to go next?
Okay, and then that's when you start going, okay, well, I guess the main thing is what is the eye going to see first with this picture? And it's going to be May and the tree, and then the laptop. Then you start going, what are they going to see next? Well, she's sitting on a car, so how's the car going to look like? Again, you start blocking out that process, and then you just start adding in layers of details until you get things kind of feeling where you want it. And now it looks like she's sitting on a very rusty old car that's been there forever.
We have a viewer who says that tree has a car for a shirt.
Yes. Hopefully it'll grow into that shirt at some point.
Absolutely.
And then after that, you just start going on into the other little areas of what might be happening. Like, okay, well, there's the block, there's the cup, there's the sign, and then there's the cart, because those are the next things that are going to pop the most out of the detail in the background. Because once you start looking at this, you're like, oh yeah, well, there's a shopping cart near her, and oh hey, look, there's a sign. And it's kind of rinse, wash, repeat. You start building up again until you have that done. And then I save the background for last, because The background for me is usually the last thing I do before I shade anything, because then I know everything is where I want it. It's the colors I like. It's not going to look weird. And so, again, I say that loosely because it's one of those cases of trial and error.
Indeed. We have another viewer who says that the car itself, it's a mini skirt. LOL.
It could.
Yeah. So I just realized that we didn't ask you, but we should have asked this from the get-go. What is your tool of choice for doing this? Like what art programs are you using?
It used to be oh, my brain. It used to be a cracked version of Photoshop way a long time ago when I was in college. That was the thing to do, was hand people part of software. Still happens.
It's cost effective, right?
Right?
Exactly.
But then I noticed what a lot of people were telling me is the Photoshop program I had wasn't really good with doing line art, because there's a very, very old version. Someone said, well, try this, and they gave me Paint Tool Sci, which I used for a while. And I believe, Paint Tool Sci, this was after it. Most of those files are still in the abyss of trying to get them converted. But it worked, but the problem with Sci was, well, it's okay with lines, but mostly it's for color and not really for vectors or anything. And then I met a webcomic artist, and he goes, well, I use Clip Studio Pro, or CSP. It's mostly geared for comics and mangas and stuff, but it's a very powerful program for like 20 some bucks, because it goes on sale constantly. And that's what I've been using, and you can get the lines clear. Just recently this year, I've started to actually mess with vector lines, so everything stays, crisp and doesn't kind of smush and pixelate.
So it automatically vectors things for you as you draw it.
Well, the line work, I'm still trying to figure out how to get the color to vector, but so far so good.
No,
and that's what I'm using right now. This is CSP.
Gotcha.
And with backgrounds, it gets a little tricky, because the first thing you want to do with backgrounds is figure out, okay, well, what tone or mood am I going for? Which most people, if you're doing traditional media, you're working with the paper you've got, or maybe you've selected a particular toned paper. With digital art, it's your playground by going, well, if I use this color and then sort of work things up from here, it'll give it a better mood. Some of my background color, the color doesn't even play the part because it's completely covered by the time I'm done. But it gets my mind going, okay, this is kind of the tone. And Night in the Woods is kind of a very mood-rich game, and doing this piece was like one of the best mood setting pictures I've done, because I really captured a good mood with it.
I think my wife can vouch me saying this to her a few times. The most intimidating thing for me is a blank white canvas, and that right there just scares me alone, trying to figure out what am I going to put on this.
What's the first step?
Or someone gifting me a brand new sketch pad, especially if it's poster size, and I'm looking at it for the very first time. They're like, well, go on, draw something on the very first page and break it in, and they'll watch me stare at it for 2 hours going, I don't know what to draw.
Like, I have all these ideas, and I want to get them out, and then, wait, hold on. Shoot, you know what? Let me go to your screen really quick. There's a particular video that matches this situation, but let me put it over to Spy Screen really quick while I go find it real fast. In the meantime, discuss a little bit of what you're doing while I find this video clip, because it's very, very applicable, and I have to find it.
Okay, do you want me to keep explaining how the background's being done, or
Yes.
do you want me to take a break on that? Okay. So as you see, there's an orange background, and then I just kind of work in, and this is where it starts getting less crisp, because it's background. You don't want your background way more, you don't want it more focused than your primary focus of the picture. Because if your background is clearer and more crisp and more vibrant than your characters, they're going to get lost in everything.
Absolutely.
I'm hoping I did this right. So I just kind of went, okay, well, let's just kind of get the darker, saturated kind of shadow or depth in there a little bit. And then I went, okay, well, let's get the grass in there, and seems like it's perpetually autumn in that game. So it's like, okay, let's get some, dead looking stuff because it's like it's cold, it's dreary. Then we add in a little bit more cold, kind of fog, misty, kind of moody, kind of work it more going, okay, if I'm this person sitting here, am I feeling happy and cheerful and go lucky because it's a bright spring summer day? Or wow, I just got confused. That bright, summer day, or is it kind of a cold, chilly, moody autumn day and I'm just sitting here on this cold car going, I've had better days and I'm listening to music and I'm trying to make myself happy, but everything is gloom.
I have the perfect image then that's recent that will portray what your thought process is, and this just is perfect for you. If you have a look in Discord, you can see the video too. This is a lizard. His favorite food is peas, and he's so excited he can't pick which pea to eat first.
Yes, exactly. That's what happens with artists, and you'll notice if you have an artist that has issues with blank pages or blank canvas, you'll notice, and you can watch the telltale. They're freezing and their mind's going 1,000 miles an hour, and you can almost see the smoke coming out of their ears. But once you get this in, of course, I got the bridge and the trees. I kind of did flat colors on them because, well, they're not as hazy as the rest of the environment. And then once I did that, I just started going in for a little bit more color to kind of detail them out and get a little bit more color. Then got the stripes in. And so that's the background. And this gets it to the point of everyone's like, oh, wow, that's a cool picture, And I've had people recently with the icon commissions I'm doing going, that's great. It's beautiful. It's lovely. And I'm like, oh, but it's not done. They're like, what? What do you mean it's not done? This looks great. It's like,
let's do the proper filter for this.
But wait, there's more.
And
sorry,
that's
I'm
what.
Have too much fun with that setting.
You're fine.
quick interjection. Nev says she has the exact same issue, so that's why she never draws. But mostly, I never draw because I have no patience, and if it doesn't come out right, I get pissy. That's a note out of my book right there.
Just a quick insert again for our watchers. If you have any questions, by all means, please go ahead and put them in the chat.
Yes, we are a very
we'll
interactive
go ahead and
show.
Forward them to Fleety.
Yes, we'll forward them to Fleety so that he can see them too.
Yeah, patience is one of those things. Answering the watcher, patience is definitely one of those things, and getting pissy with failure. Any artist that tells you they don't feel the same way, from day to day, depending on whatever they're doing, is lying, because we all face that. And there's only one. It's not really a cure. It's more like a Band-Aid. The only Band-Aid to it is you just gotta buckle down and just keep at it, and eventually something will stick. You might have a pile of crumpled up paper next to you, but eventually you get to the point of, okay, I got this. It's out of my system. It's going fine, and then you mess up the inking and you start all over again.
Absolutely. And it's just like jumping right back on the horse, for sure.
Oh, yeah. So, as I've told people, this is the flat color, and they're like, well, what else are you going to do to it? Let me introduce you to shading and dynamic light. And this is a little bit more easier. It doesn't have the gobs and gobs of details like some of the other ones that you've shown on the little slideshow that I've presented, because those can get detailed. But this one, I just go with, several layers. I go with 2 shading layers and then 2 light layers. But that really depends on how complex I want to make this picture. Most people, they're fine with just 1 level. Some like, the 2 or 3 levels where it's really dynamic. Others like, photorealistic. And I'm like, I can't do that.
Indeed. Nev says that that creates waste, and I hate waste. Haha.
That's why I went to digital art.
Indeed.
You can just keep going over and over again. I know it's not the cup of tea for everybody, but when I moved, I lost a lot of studio space. I'm currently trying to get the garage fixed so I can get that back, and everything got expensive with supplies as the years got on. And that's why when somebody gave me a little mouse drawing tablet to do digital art, I got hooked on it, because I'm like, I can practice with the digital art 1,000 times and nothing is getting wasted. It's just pixels.
I think it's fair to say, too, that with the digital art, it just grants flexibility overall.
It does, but it also kind of has stigma if you're not careful, because there are traditional artists out there that will not even look at you because they feel you're just cheating until you have a sit down chat with them and you show them the entire process. It's like, where in any of this am I just letting the computer automatically do something for me? I have to literally put it all in. As you can see,
go ahead. Sorry.
As you can see, I got, the basic shading in. This is what normal people would see. And then if you just want to go and push it just a little bit further, that's what my art teacher in the one class I had in dynamic and light figure drawing was telling me is if you want it to pop, push the shadows a bit darker. If you do another layer that's a little bit, lighter, it'll actually multiply and give you deeper shadows.
Indeed.
And then the fun part is you go, okay, well, you've got darkness, now you got to have the light because you can't have one without the other. And then you go, okay, where's the sun going to hit? Okay, what's going to hit in this area? And then you're like, well, where is it going to... it's going to hit in this area, but then it's like, but it's too bright because, again, it's a cold autumn day for May. So it's got to kind of have that bloom, like the light's filtered through something. So we just kind of... Well, I kind of gave it more of a glow, but it could be a setting sun. We'll just call it that.
And then basically we're close to the end with this picture, right?
There's one more thing that people forget.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Oh, wait. I forgot. You got to have the sun rays or the god rays.
Yep.
The absolute, which isn't needed, but the absolute necessary thing that you need to do, as you see down here, always sign your work. Always date it.
Yes.
Because if you don't sign this, guess what's going to happen when you put it up on the internet? Oh, you didn't draw that. This person drew it. And you have no way to say, no, I drew it. That's why you always sign and date your work. Claim it. Make it yours.
The full picture now being rendered out in high definition from Spyre's computer on the end result. That's very, very nice, and it's very, very compelling for being your probably your best fan art that you've done, right? One of?
Oh, yeah. This is the best one to date that I can come up with, because the others were just kind of half-hearted attempts. The only other one that came close was wow, my brain.
Well, while you think about that, Werewolf Mutt in the chat here iterates that you also want to make sure you put it in a spot where someone can't cover it up, though.
That is very true. That is something that a lot of people don't realize when they're doing art is people are... I'm trying to be careful because there are good people, there are bad people,
Of course.
It's life. But if somebody wants to take credit for something bad enough or to misuse something bad enough, they will find ways to do it. And that's why a lot of artists start finding ways to incorporate their signatures and the dates that they did it into the actual pieces. So that way, if you try to cover it up, it's not going to look right because it's going to look off for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
We also got another post from Nev previously. She said she prefers digital, actually, and for those reasons. She has a Wacom tablet, but she hasn't used it much because she feels bad when she's not able to draw right, and a bit of depression is involved with that.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything you could give as advice on that topic?
Yeah, that's gonna happen. I hit those periods often where I'm having good moments, and then there's days, even weeks, where everyone's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I can't draw right, or I don't draw well. I don't want to touch anything." And then I get everyone shoving all these pictures, going, "Yeah, we're not buying that." But with that, it's kind of almost similar to writer's block. There is no one way to get past something. It's all personalized. It's all dependent on the person. And some days when I hit that point where I just can't draw because I don't feel like I'm drawing well, or I get that point where nothing is good. Sometimes the best thing to do is step away, do something fun, do something entertaining, something distracting. Watch a movie, go watch anime, do some Netflix, play a game. Interact with people, which is scary sometimes for artists because a lot of us are introverts by nature.
Indeed. Speaking of taking a break,
sometimes
speaking of taking a break, I think we should do it now, just so we can get our little minds reset. For those who are in the chat, thank you for all the input. If you have any additional comments or questions that you'd like to have, we're going to take a quick little 5-minute break for drinks, any other personalities that are needed, and then we'll address some other comments that have gone in the chat prior to starting the game hour, where we get to start having fun with it. We've got a couple really good activities lined up for you, including a reiteration of the 10-1-10 challenge. Ooh. So we'll get into that here in a minute. We're going to take 5 minutes, do what you got to do, and we'll get ourselves all hydrated and everything. So see you guys soon in a minute.
Welcome back, everybody.
This is the Docs Fox along with,
The Spy Fry.
and you're here on Heavy Artillery. We're getting back from our break with Mr. Fleety here. And what are we looking at, Mr. Fleety?
blank page.
Oh,
you
on
mean
your
Corgi.
right. No, yes, the Corgi.
I was gonna say, well, hey, I pulled up a blank page like asked, but yes. When it comes to the fan art, you're asking about if Night in the Woods was the best one. So far, it is, and I'm trying to break that by showing my, as you can see, overwhelmingly OCD love for corgis and wheelchairs with Ghostbuster gear attached to them.
And this is where our comment about you having excellent detail in the way that you conceptualize your subject really comes to show itself. This is even just line art. This is like flabbergasting to just behold. You can see all the little nooks and crannies, the wires where they're coiled up and everything.
I just kind of want to see it move. There's
Yeah.
just so much going on.
You almost want to see it like in a 3D render, just to see where, like the little chain that's on his side right there with the Ghostbuster symbol. You want to see that dangling while he's wiggling his little butt trying to move forward.
I know someone's going to ask me to animate this. I'm like, I'm like a toddler with animations. Like, I wouldn't know where to begin. And this is just a proof with this is how far I've really come from 2000 till now.
Indeed.
It's just constantly just keeping at it and having a lot of support and a lot of people that you're going to get people that are going to say, hey, that looks great. And you're going to get other people go, okay, that's and it kind of breaks your heart as an artist, but when you pick up the pieces and you learn from what they're telling you, you move one step next, and then you start getting to this point where you're like, I'm getting close, and then you start getting people going, okay, but now it's too much detail.
Absolutely. So, that said, getting back to our viewers with the comments that have piled up while we were away, to prevent, this is from the non-furry furry, to prevent that I take notes on ideas that I want to draw, the problem is that now that every time I take a look at my notes, my brain goes, you could draw this for the next hour, or, listen to me, you could rewatch this insert show for the 3027th time. Yeah, distractions are probably one of the biggest vices for artists all around. For me, especially like when I'm trying to get started on a project. For Spirey, what would you say your nemesis is when it comes to like distraction? Distraction.
Well, our animals play a big part in that.
Oh yes, we do have a
The
mini
puppy
Noah's Ark over here.
especially. But they're also a huge inspiration, so it just kind of it goes hand in hand.
It does go hand in hand. We also have, for a second there, I thought that was a rocket launcher on the top right for the Corgi.
Yeah, well, the problem is when I started doing this, because I like showing, the last time I did Ghostbuster stuff, it was with a xenomorph.
Oh.
And Spirey saw that on last night when we were doing the get to know each other bit, and that worked fine for the xenomorph because, well, they kind of have claw hands, so they can use the proton blaster. The Corgi is kind of more limited to he has paws, so that's why I put the proton blaster on a little robotic arm so he could aim it, and then put the PKE meter in front of his nose so he could boop it, and also the Nintendo Advance game controller that they actually used in the second Ghostbuster movie
for the giant.
as a way. Yeah, so it looks like a big rocket launcher, and I've had a few friends tell me it doesn't look like he's going to be able to move. And the Corgi that was based on, it was funny because it's like, Mike Keegan Corgi, when he lost the use of his back legs, he became yoked and strong, you wouldn't believe in his front because of the the pulling. I mean, he was like a little bodybuilder corgi. I'm like, wow.
Well, the good thing is that he had his hobble away. We also now have shown in the bottom left-hand corner the xenomorph that you were talking about. From Nev and from Skywolf, we both of them are complimenting you. Nev says, that corgi is fantastic, smiley face. And Skywolf says, the detail is amazing, too.
Yep.
Absolutely. It's really fantastic to see that. Like, I almost want to see someone... Like, I know you could go and color it, and you would be able to, like, pinpoint where I almost want to see someone else color it to see how well your line art has been done, to see what someone else's interpretation is on portraying the detail that you have in it. I think that would be a good exercise.
And lately these days, because my line work and form has improved so much, as I'm trying to get closer and closer to getting set up for commissions and stuff, I'm actually writing in to my terms of service that if somebody wants to color my artwork, they can do it for free. I'll hand the artwork, just as long as, you know, the copyright, that it's my property, comes back to me, that I get credit for it.
Absolutely.
For the line work, at least. So I don't mind doing a comparison. That would actually be kind of, nice to see, is, because I do know there's a lot of people out there that like the color for relaxation. And they're not all about drawing. Maybe they're not good about drawing, but they have a good sense of color. They know how to color well. So I wouldn't mind maybe even considering doing coloring pages every once in a while if people want it.
So that goes into our next transition, where we start getting into the games and start practicing exactly what you preach. But it's under some certain constraints, and you're not going to be doing this alone. My wife just discovered that she's going to be participating too.
He subjected me to this the other night.
Hey, you subjected to me to it as well.
I did.
And that's how he came up with Chungert the Dim. So if you want to do that, we have our... If you want to find out about Chungert the Dim, we have a stream we're getting ready to post on YouTube. We're having a little difficulties because a particular song played inside of it that YouTube basically threw up all over, and we have to recompile that video. Nonetheless, it's time for the 10-minute, 1 minute, and 10-second challenge. Now, the rules to this is that I'm going to go to this randomizer that I have, thanks to Jazz's Tools, the app that he has on his app store.
Jazza is awesome.
Jazza is awesome. Yes. He has a great tool, which we're going to do a character challenge. Both of you are. You're both going to try and convey the same subject. So what you're going to need is you're going to need to do 3 different layers. And of the 3 different layers, one is going to be marked 10 minutes. The second layer is going to be marked 1 minute. And the third layer is going to be marked 10 seconds. And the concept and idea is that for the 10-minute one, you want to get all the line work done, maybe some shading, some details to convey the imaging.
Did you say 10 seconds for the last one?
10 seconds for the last one, yes. So for the 10-minute, you want to try and put as much detail that you can within that 10 minutes. Portray the idea that you want and get it as good as you can, and have enough detail and definition so that in the 1 minute one, you can reduce it and still portray the same idea. Maybe with less detail, but the same idea. And then the 10-second challenge, which is last, take everything that you've compiled from the 10-minute and 1 minute and reduce it to its bare bones within 10 seconds. It's a very tough challenge. It's very entertaining to watch, especially when you hear like what their thought process are through. So I'm going to be, while they're trying to think and process what they're trying to do, I'm going to be asking them, so what are you going to do there? What are you going to do there? What's this? What are you going to do with that? You're going to want a blank slate, honey. You're not going to use the model yet. That's for another game.
Oh, okay.
So you want blank slates.
All right.
This is like the worst version of Master Chef.
Just about. So you got your 3 layers? Or you'll make your layers as you go along. So what we'll do, go ahead and take the corgi off, and I will control switching between your screen and my screen for Fleety.
Do you want to make a dual one real quick?
That's going to be a little... Oh, you know what? I do have the dual one up here, so dual screen. Okay, cool. So what I've got is, for the DocsFox screen up here, I should do it in here. As you can see in the top right corner, that's the DocsFox. That is going to portray Fleety's picture, as I have him in my full screen. And in the bottom left-hand picture is the Spy Fry. She's going to be doing her picture from there. And I need to fix the chat again, because for whatever the reason, it decided to sync again. That's not cool. Let's get that fixed. Anyway, with that aside, I'm going to click on the button here. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to give yourself some either sketch lines or framework, just an idea to begin the process of figuring out where you want your subject, what it's going to include. Don't actually draw anything in detail yet, but your first 2 minutes, you'll be able to put down some baselines to figure out your subject and whatever's added to it. And then when I say go, straight line work and detailing from there, okay? Everybody understand the rules?
I have distraction already.
You do, yes. The bird is... Why don't you put the bird away, honey? Go ahead.
Okay.
If he squawks and if people start hearing the off in the background,
apologize.
the bird is not in any danger. It's just pining for attention, and yeah, he's just being a little shit right now. So don't mind him. He's a cockatiel. She wants Spyry to have his egg. That's all. That's how we put it in my world. Okay, is everybody ready?
No.
Ready as ever.
All right, let's
This
give
is
this a
going
go.
to be murder.
This is going. Well, everybody hates this challenge, but they find out just how much fun it is. Okay, so the character challenge is: you are going to draw a leader that works for the government who has awesome tattoos. You have 2
Sounds like an
minutes to
oxymoron
work with that.
already.
Yeah. You have a leader that works for the government who has awesome tattoos. 2-minute warm up. You guys can put whatever notes that you want. You can put little frameworks, but no major details, no defining features, nothing.
Wow.
No defining features?
Like for the framework pictures, just to give your initial form. So this is like you can consider this your 10 second, but in 2 minutes. A leader that works for the government who has awesome tattoos. So if you want to do it where he's topless or just sleeveless, maybe he ripped his sleeves off and he's showing his tattoos. There's lots of different ways that you can portray this. A leader can be male or female. We're at about 1:30. And by all means, try to bleed your thought on how you want to approach this. What are you trying to figure out?
I've got so many things going through my head right now. I can't talk.
I believe it. I believe it. My mind races at stuff like this too, and I'm trying to figure out. But that's the whole thing about the radio world is you want to try and put into words what you're thinking, and it's not easy. Not easy one bit. Wolfsinger says, "Take me to your leader." We're at 1 minute for your lineouts. Okay.
That'll work. Oops.
45 seconds.
Yay.
To reiterate for those who are watching, we have Fleety doing his representation of a leader that works for the government who has awesome tattoos on the top right and the Spy Fry in the bottom left. While we're waiting for them to get their things, with the next 30 seconds, if you want to do your own fan art and participate as well, maybe to see if you want to participate in this challenge just for funsies, we have a Dropbox link just down below there. You can submit your art as you finish it as a way of showing your own little passions for the show. Doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be good. Doesn't have to be excellent. Look, you saw my show last time. If you were here, it looked like shit, and I still claimed it as mine. And I'll put it in there just so that you can see it as well, okay? So, within the next 10 seconds, we're going to get started. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
4, 3, 2, 1, begin!
Oh my goodness. All right, it starts.
Indeed.
So
So yeah, as I was saying below, if you want to participate in this stuff and just whether you want to participate in the games or if you want to just see about making your own little fan arts or some of the different representations, maybe there was a particular comment that you wanted to draw fan art of Spy Fry and me, and you wanted to do something fun with that, by all means, we love to see what you guys create. We want this to be interactive. We want to see what you guys portray as a count of what we do on the show. And we would be more than honored to represent your stuff inside of a fan art segment. So give us the material. We will absolutely make sure it's protected so that other people won't take it. And we would love to see what you come as a creation. Right down below there, next to the suggestion box on the left side, that's where the Dropbox is. Make sure you do JPEGs or PNGs. Avoid GIFs, avoid videos, avoid other things because they tend to... As much as we would like to have highly rendered stuff, the Dropbox does have a limitation. We're not paying for it yet. So let's see here. Looks like both of you kind of have a similar style where the leader looks a little suave-esque for sure.
Well, most leaders, that's the first thing you think of.
You do think of like a suave sort of person. I do like the eyebrows that Spirey has portrayed right now. It looks
damn! She's already had eyebrows. Crap.
Not so much. No, not like deep, detailed eyebrows, but she's putting certain structures down. We're at we're getting close. We're almost at the 8-minute mark.
Already?
Already, yeah. We're almost at the 8-minute mark.
No.
It's okay.
It's
You still have plenty of time. Just remember, you're doing a basic representation. You don't need to go in full detail. You just want to be able to portray a character to the point where it shows the detail, the baselines of what is needed for the criteria. A leader that works for the government who has awesome tattoos. Wolfsinger says, "Take me to your leader." I think I said that already. Werewolf Mutt says, "Can I give Fleety ideas for his?" He says, "Add a samurai sword with a little cutesy smile face."
Oh, I could do that.
It's possible, yeah.
See how it goes.
So it looks like Spirey's going to do a planar human, and looks like Fleety is actually going with an anthropomorph, so that's nice.
I debated going anthro. I haven't done humans in a while, though, so with the last one and this one, I guess I decided to just change it up a little.
Finally bite the bullet.
Yeah, might
That's
as
good.
well.
Hey,
Well-
sometimes it's better to go with something that you're more uncomfortable with, or even in this case, I think what you said is that humans are a little too simple for you.
Yeah, they can be.
They
but,
can be.
I mean, that's the norm, and everybody, I don't know. Everyone's a human.
I just figure with everyone's already a human, and they get to be a human every day. Why not be something different?
Exactly.
Humans get a little boring after a while.
They do, especially when you've been one all your life.
I draw a human, but I'm not so good with faces still. So unless you really want to see, my childhood art coming back.
I still make smiley faces for actual faces, okay? So that's... I totally empathize. We're at 6 minutes, 30 seconds now.
Oh, crap. Try.
Wolfsinger says, "Human!"
Yes, human.
Yes, human.
I don't want to waste too much time on abs.
Werewolf said, "Yep, I get enough human IRL XD."
Yay, humans IRL. Woohoo.
Yep. I get to meet them all the time, too. I get to have lunch with them. I get to tell them when they've done bad at the office. All that good stuff. Woo. Ah, the soda decided to make an appearance. This episode is not brought to you by Dr. Pepper, but that is what I'm drinking, and that's what I'm going with. It's the cherry kind.
It's so good, it'll choke you.
Yeah. Or at least it make you have gas going upward.
At least
Something
it's
else will
not
give you
Womp.
the downward gas, but I'm not going to go into detail about what that is.
I was gonna say at least it's not Womscottle from Big Friendly Giant.
Yeah, definitely not. Let's see here. Wolfsinger product placement? No, not exactly. If it was product placement, I'd be endorsing as Dr. Pepper is the best thing I've ever drank, and that would be the thing, right? But no, I'm not doing product placement. I'm just telling you exactly what I'm actually having at the moment, and that's different from product placement. Product placement, would be doing it to pine for money. I'm doing it for information purposes. Let's see here. Werewolf Mutt says, "Ever tried Dr. Pepper's energy drink?" No, I don't think I've ever tried that. Where would you find the Dr. Pepper energy drink? I don't think we have that in the Midwest. What's it called?
Yeah.
I can look it up. I can Google it. And then Skywolf says, Dr. Pepper, it's the sweet one. And then Nev, being down in the Netherlands, says, Dr. Pepper is horrible, you weird Americans. Yeah, bite me.
Well, not just any Dr. Pepper. He
Oh!
he likes cherry Dr. Peppers specifically.
I do specifically like the cherry Dr. Peppers, yes. Werewolf Mutt, Black Mamba Venom. Yes, I have had that. I did not realize that was made by Dr. Pepper itself. I have had the Black Mambas, and they are pretty good. The Venom ones, they are all right. They're not my go-to because they do tend to be a bit of expensive. And they have that feature that like normally doesn't bring me close to like a lot of other energy drinks, where it's like a real sharp kind of metallic twang to it. But yeah, I did have Black Mamba Venom quite a few times, and I would say it is pretty good. It just has that little twang to it that I'm not totally appealing to. Oh, not Nether. What is it? No, was it? I know you're somewhere down south. You're out of America. You're near Australia. I could have thought you were. No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking New Zealand, not the Netherlands. That's it. Yeah, see, I'm dyslexic sometimes. That's what I meant to say. New Zealand. You're down in New Zealand. You're a New Zealander. There we go. Well,
There's not Aussie. Not Aussie land then.
Yeah, not Aussie land. Just offside of it. She's out of the fire. She just gets to see the burning coals of dead koalas. Oh, that was too smooth. Too soon.
Oh wow, that was just
That was too soon.
Oh, hit the censor
You're
button
way too soon.
ASAP.
All right, cut this episode off. We're done.
You just lost all your funding. We have
Yeah,
funding?
no, we have funding. I was gonna say. So, not to alarm you guys, but you have 3 minutes left.
Oh no.
I know. Let's see here. Werewolf says, Skywolf says, cherry for the win. Werewolf Mutt says, expensive. Around here, it's super cheap. Well, I don't know. I guess it's just that's where it's manufactured, and so shipping costs are lower. I don't know. The non-furry furry says, how does tattoos work on anthros? Do you just dye the area that pretty much get a temporary tattoo, or do you shave the fur and tattoo the area? I personally like to think of it as like the pores get injected with the ink, and so therefore it pigments the fur color from then on. That's how I see it, but that might be how would you interpret a tattoo for a fur, an anthro?
For a portion of our test panel, I did do a skunk who had tattoos, but she had shaven the hair and revealed tattoos that was on the skin itself.
Mm-hmm. How about you? How about you, Fleet? How would you explain a furry or an anthro?
That's actually something me and my creative partner have been discussing a lot, because the Lupanasi are they went very tribal, and all the Lupanasi have den markings that indicate who you're from and where you're from.
Mm-hmm.
And we've actually gone through the gamut of, okay, well, let's just do tattoos. And then the reality came on, but they're furry. They're covered in fur. So, okay, well, they can shave fur. That's going to get tedious and annoying, and that's still not practical. And then trying to show that fur as well, being shaved constantly as an art process is not easy. So then we went like, okay, well, we can do branding where, they just like put a hot brand and just sizzle the flesh away, so that way there's no fur there, and it's like a brand, but it's like, yeah, but on the thicker breed, the thicker furred breeds and all that,
mm-hmm.
you're gonna have you're still gonna have the fur covering it. And we finally settled on, okay, well, then the best thing to do is, since it's more of a futuristic kind of setting, it's kind of like what you were talking about, except for they have lasers that genetically modify the follicles of the fur, and it changes the fur color that way. So as the fur keeps growing, it still stays in that pattern, in that
Gotcha.
color.
You have 30 seconds.
Woo, shoot.
Let's see here. Nev rightly calls me a twat bar. Totally understand that one and why it is acceptable. So that's cool. And Werewolf Mutt says, but I went to Venom because it's close to Monster and, well, 3 times less the cost. I absolutely can agree with you there. And that is the time. Time is it. Put your pens down. Clear out any reference stuff that you have, and let's give a comparison. First off, let's take a look at Fleety. Oh, come on. Don't do that screen. What's going on?
was gonna say reference. I didn't even have a time to even look for it.
Well, no. I meant like your underlines or things that didn't mean to get seen. That's what I mean by reference. So let's go to docs here. Yep, there we go. This is what we have for Fleety. Actually, it turned out pretty nice. You've got a bit of I would say you have an Oriental leader who's a politician.
Oh, I like that.
Yep,
It does look
with a
pretty
crew
good.
cut, and it's kind of in poor taste. But I figured, well, samurai sword, so I gave him the hakama bottoms. He's got, if it was colored, he'd have his white ceremonial shirt on with his chest bared. Maybe he's gonna do a Harry Carry. Who knows?
So,
And he's got a tattoo of a bomb dropping down on Tokyo.
oh, is that what that is? At first glance, it doesn't look like a bomb. I thought that looked like a little bit of a penis there, but hey, we'll just call that a bomb.
That was on his chest.
I was rushing.
It's okay. Dude, that little slit right in the middle of it, right there, kind of gives it that little,
Yeah.
a little bit of a penis look. So, right now is where I would play the gif of "That's a penis," and then the guy sits down and he starts to smile. So yeah, there's our tattooed leader right there. What do you want to name him? What's his name?
Oh, let's go with Tofu.
Tofu, the Oriental leader. Okay, now let's go have a look at Spirey. What do we have for Spirey? Spirey, what do we have here? What's it? Let's talk about it. What do we have? It's an American politician. Mm-hmm. He's got the flag there, which is pretty cute. It almost looks like it's a sandwich stabber to keep it together.
Oh.
That's what I get
Okay.
at. What else were you going for with your American politician? You went with the sleeveless look, very classy. He still has the slacks
wanted
on.
to show off the tattoos somehow, so he tore off his sleeves, I guess.
He definitely did that. That's very, very evident. What kind of tattoos does he have? We've got.
There's a skull, a rose, the American flag. I should have put a bald eagle somewhere.
What's the
Just
thing
a
on his neck?
American.
What's that on his neck? Is that the rose or is that something else?
No, I wrote freak on
Oh,
his neck.
freak. That's what it says. It says freak. Okay.
It's sounding hilarious because I have no clue what it looks like right now, but it sounds hilarious.
Well, we'll make sure that you get an image of it before you take off for sure. That way
And
you can
then
see it.
I gave him a Vote Pedro badge because those were popular back in the day.
Oh, very nice. Oh, the non-furry furry, thank you so much for the follow right there. Appreciate it. We hope to bring you great content in the future. Thanks for following. I think we're at like 8 or 9 now. Thanks. We need to get to 50, so thank you for the follow. It really helps us out towards the affiliate status. What else we got? Spyfry, that character has an anime feel to it.
Does it?
Does it? Apparently. I could almost see it in like a Ben 10, but like for adults.
Sure. It's more westernized.
It's definitely more
anime, I
westernized,
think.
but it still looks really good. I like the definition you put into him. You definitely made him have the American kind of brute physicality. What's his name?
What's his name?
And Nev says, vote Pedro. What's his name, Spy? Hey, I came up with Chungert, okay? So
I hear the gears just grinding and the dust is just kind of falling at the moment. Would the viewers like to come up with a name?
okay, viewers who are present right now, Spirey is in need of your help. She's drafting you to give a name to this guy. What's President? What's his name? Let's get some audience participation. What's his name? Give us a name. I will give points to uniqueness or memeability. I guess technically Nev says it's Pedro.
It's just Pedro.
The non-furry says Yobama.
I like that. I like that.
I do like
I'm
that.
sorry.
That's pretty
Okay.
good.
It's Yo.
Skywolf says Mr. America. That's also
Yo.
adequate.
Bama.
Wolfsinger. Oh God, now I'm thinking of that movie from Idiocracy that had the wrestler for a president. That's pretty
yes,
close.
yeah.
That's actually pretty close. I think that's very on the head right there, Wolfsinger. That's very much so. Also, shout out to Wolfsinger. We were supposed to do this at the beginning of the episode, and I totally breezed over it. Shout out to Wolfsinger for helping us arrange our first guest today for the show. Props to you, buddy. Thanks for your help with that.
Yes,
see
thank you,
here.
Will Singer.
Nev says this chat delay is vicious. Actually, we're on the low we're on the low latency mode, so the chat delay is just because you're down in the New Zealand, so that's your fault.
Harsh. Ow.
Yep. I get to tease her. I'm allowed. She teases me all the time too. Skywolf, thank you for the follow. Thank you again, and we hope to bring you the content that you like to see from this. Let us know that we're doing good with that. Thank you so much for that. And Werewolf Mutt says, honestly, I was thinking crumped. Shaking my head. I think we're good with Yobama then. Yobama, Mr. America. What do you think of the two? Yobama? Yobama. Okay, cool. Yobama it is.
I hear crump, and all I think of is Crunk from The Emperor's New Groove.
Yobama, your mama.
Yobama, your mama. There we go. Nice.
With Pedro. Vote Pedro.
With Pedro. All right, so now that that's over with, and we have the baseline of what you're going to be doing now you got to take everything you just drew and portray it in 1 minute.
Goody.
Okay, so get onto your next layer. This is your 1 minute layer.
Let me go 10. All right.
Now you're on your 1 minute. Okay.
Oh, this is going to be murderous now.
It is going to be murder, but that's okay. I'm going to give you a 10-second warm-up so that you can get whatever references if you need it. And then at 1 minute, you start line work, and that's it, okay? So, 10 seconds, think about it. Think about what you're going to do.
Did I leave the stove
5
on?
seconds. 2, 1.
Begin.
Oh, shoot.
"50 seconds has elapsed."
Oh,
I'm not going to say
It's
too
so
much during this
fast.
because I want you guys to concentrate, and this is definitely crunch time, so do what you can. 40 seconds have elapsed.
this is evil.
It is evil.
Just so you know.
30 seconds has elapsed. Just water it down as best as you can. Oh, you know what? I just realized I don't have it on dual screen, so that's kind of shitty on my part, right? 20 seconds has elapsed.
I'm getting nervous.
Well, it was 20 seconds left. That's what I meant to say. 10 seconds.
No, I need to get the tattoos in there somewhere.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and time. Pens down.
It's not even.
Okay, let's have a look. Let's have a look. We're gonna go over to.
It's not.
Here we are. This is Fleety. You've done this. You know, this is what you did. Congratulations.
Tofu melted in the soup.
He did melt a little bit in the soup. He's got one arm now, and he's got part of a penis tattoo on him. It almost looks like he's got a cigar in his mouth now.
Yeah, he's supposed to have a cigar in his mouth.
Oh, he is supposed to have a cigar in his mouth. Okay, it's very prominent now. That's for sure. Okay, and now Spirey. Woo. Well, you got the arm going on, and his face is almost done, but you kind of lost a leg there. Is he gonna get Medicared?
I got too wrapped up in trying to open another layer out so I can go on top of the stuff that we did, and then
so you didn't have the layer ready.
it got muddled.
I gotcha.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's okay. That's part of the fun. Is you got to figure out how you're gonna do this and do that. So yeah. So now that we got that done, now we're down to brass tacks. This is the big challenge. Okay, the big challenge.
Oh, man.
So I'm going to tell you right now, the best thing for this one is to water it down to base elements. Don't go for detail. Don't go for like raw definition. Just try to get the base elements that you can down to represent your character, okay? Let's put it back on the dual screen. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to think. And I'm going to say when 10 seconds start. So get your brains flexing. Here we go. I'm starting 15 seconds. Only begin at 10 seconds, okay? You have 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. Begin.
Woohoo! Yes.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's game for both of you.
Cool.
What do we got?
Not enough time for my brain to process this.
That's part of the challenge. Okay, so what do we got? Let's see here.
I just like, okay, this is not going
You've
to
gone cubist on me. What the hell?
I put the flag in the cigar. I think what
You got the flag cigar, and you got, like, I guess that's the tattoo, but there's no body to put it onto. What?
Okay, yeah, if I was going to do a body, you'd like see like a muzzle, and that's it. It's like tofu in a blizzard.
Well, let's see. Did Spy do better? Oh, boy.
That sounds like no.
This guy is getting Thanos right here. Someone snapped the finger, and he's fading away in each picture. You can kind of see that.
And melting.
He's
too.
definitely melting. I'm looking for the pixelation so that he actually gets faded away. This was definitely a very challenging subject, but it seems to have paid off, and it made you guys definitely start to appreciate what getting to the base elements is. I wish we could show my Chungert one. I don't know if we saved it though.
Here,
Did you save it?
I did.
Okay,
of course
cool.
I did.
So
I'll
for
pull
those
it up
who
in a minute.
didn't see the last stream, when I participated in it, I had to make a baby from medieval times wearing high heels, and I was like, "What the fuck?" It was very, very difficult. And then the thing that was going against me is that I haven't used the Wacom tablet that I gave to my wife now in maybe 4 or 5 years, and on top of that too, I hadn't used the art program that she's using, which is
I'm gonna
Krita.
Put this back up there for a
Yeah,
second.
go ahead. Let me put it back on the heavy artillery screen just for the sake of. So, shoot, you know what? I just realized that changing the chat changes it over here too, but I'll figure that out later. I'm still tweaking with things, so I'm trying to make sure that the chat itself is not like too scrunched, but also not too skinny. Either way, what do we got here? Nev says, "You gotta split the screen, you nog." Yes, I did. Skywolf, that flag reminds me of Monsters, Inc. There you go. So you did something right. You got to get some sort of resemblance to other folks.
Oh, here you go.
There it
Here's
is. Okay.
Chongert the Dim.
This is Chongert the Dim. So the leftmost, Chongert the Dim, is my baby with medieval clothing that has high heels. And then I had to reduce it down for my 10 seconds, and then I brought it to what maybe is a chocobo with an egg on a stick.
I'll screenshot a picture so you can see too, Fleety.
Indeed.
Okay.
While we're doing that, I will start explaining what the next challenge is with the next 20 minutes, and you'll be spending 15 minutes of it creating the next design. This game is picked out.
No.
This game is picked out based on Fleet's preferences, and that is designing clothing. So what we're going to do is we're going to have you design a heroic character.
Wow.
We're going to have you
sorry.
design a heroic character in 15 minutes in their attire based off of the same little app that we have here.
Wow.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to get
There you go,
the
Fleety.
character challenge here. I'll get the details from it, and I'll explain what the outfit is going to be, okay?
That's actually pretty good. That's actually pretty good, Doc Fox.
That's why I gave you the little mannequin there, so you can draw on top of the mannequin. Your subject is going to be female. You're going to have to make
I was talking about your Chongert.
Oh, my Chongert. Yeah, it's something.
That makes me feel,
Better.
less bad about my flag cigar and half of
Hey,
a
at least I got more of an
tattoo.
outline, okay?
It's all good. It's all a good humor. It's all a good humor.
Absolutely. I claim him as me being very thing. You might want to, for this thing, you might want to see about expanding your work area, because you might have a hat, you might have big boots or something like that, and you might have to extend the sleeves there. Just friendly advice.
But that can happen. Not a problem.
So like I said, we're going to do 15 minutes this time, and it's going to be on a character design. The character design for both of you, I can either do this one of two ways. I can assign one of you one character design and the other person a different character design, and then we'll shape it up and see who the audience favors as today's top artist. Or you can have the same subject and then have the audience compare it and see who has done the better portrayal. So, since you guys are competing, what do you think? Should you get the same subject or two different outfits?
That's a toughie.
It is a toughie. It's also where you can make your grave or make your bank. This is where I would play the theme music if it was not copyrighted.
Want to flip a coin?
Oh, for Jeopardy.
Yeah. Well, Spy says we can flip a coin. Do you want to flip a coin?
Yeah, let's go with flip a coin.
Okay. Since you are the guest, we will let you choose which sides are what.
Heads we do the same, tails we do different.
Okay. Heads same, tails different. Spy, I'm going to flip the coin, and you tell us what the result is, okay? Here we go.
Oh, ow. I just got hit in the head with it.
Yeah, well, it bounced all over. I got a strong thumb. It kind of went everywhere.
Artist down, quick.
So the results is heads. Heads. What was heads again?
Same design.
Same design. Okay, same design for both of you. You're both going to do the same design. Design. What? Okay.
Excuse me for all the coughing.
It's okay. So your character that you're both going to do, you're going to be drawing an assassin that has an animal companion with black horns. Either the
Wait.
assassin can have black horns or the animal friend can have black horns. But you need to design a heroic female OC that has an animal companion and black horns.
Animal companion, black horns. Ooh.
The outfit itself can incorporate black horns. The animal companion can have black horns. The OC can have black horns as part of their like demonic nature. I will leave that up to your interpretation. And let's say we're going to start with line art. We're not going to worry about colors. We're just going to do with design so that every inch of the character is adorned in something.
All right.
Okay. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes to think about it. We are going to do an assassin female OC that is accompanied by a wild animal.
Hold on. I need to get back into my program.
Sure. Oh, did it crash?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Messing with the text does something to it.
Oh, I see.
Not sure why.
Okay. That's fine. This just gives him more time to contemplate his. And while you're doing this, discuss with us like what your process is, what your thinking along the lines are. What do you think you're going to tackle first?
Okay, well, if it's going to be an assassin, I'm going to be thinking, okay, what kind of creature am I dealing with?
Mhm.
That's going to change everything about, okay, how's this thing clothed? There's nothing worse than trying to put a baklava over a dragon head.
Mm-hmm. So
And then from there
you're gonna go
is-
with a dragon assassin.
Well, no.
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
saying, as a reference. I'm not giving away my secrets.
That's fine.
But yeah, basically it's like, okay, roughly what am I going to be drawing, and then how this is going to fit, and then the companion animal. Going to
Gotcha.
be interesting.
We're going to go back to the dual screens here. Same thing as before. Under the Docs Fox on the top right, that is going to be Fleety. On the bottom left, we have Spirey. And the subject that they're going to do is they're going to draw... Oh, did it crash on you again?
I need to restart.
Oh, you need to restart. Okay, cool. We're going to do a quick little restart for Spirey because she's having a little bit of a mechanical error. We're going to get the computer restart, and then we will begin the clothing stuff. Use this time to start frameworking it in your mind, though, since you can't do it on the computer at the moment. Man, that thing is taking a long time. There it goes. Okay, cool. Had me worried. Like, I do not want to buy you a new computer now, right? Not just yet. At least wait until taxes come in, okay?
Not bad. Come on now. I just have a lot of stuff running.
Yeah, sure, you do.
This is one of the cases of the computer is mirroring the artist's mind with 37 tabs open, and I can't figure out where the music is coming from.
Exactly. Yep, I've lived that life a few times.
I mean, better that it happened now than
Yeah,
earlier.
definitely. Especially while you were in the middle of the challenge, that would have
Yep.
definitely
That would have sucked.
that would have fried your biscuits for sure. Oh, looks like we got another viewer that came in. Welcome, welcome, welcome home. I hope you guys are enjoying yourselves with the show. Thank you guys again for sticking out for the show and for sticking around, especially. If you do want to participate, remember there's a Dropbox link down below. You are more than welcome to submit your own fan art or participate in these designs yourselves for fun. You will not be criticized harshly. I promise. We're all going to make fun of each other equally, especially myself. And if you do participate in this stuff, we are more than happy to show it off in a fan section, and just in the name of your art, just make sure that you give yourself credit. Put your name, your initials, the time when you did it, JPEGs and pings if you can. Try to limit to that. No GIFs, no anything like that. No videos.
If we get enough of them, then maybe we can start featuring them like at the start of the show.
Absolutely. And also, speaking of, if you are an artist and you would like to be on the show and talk about your process, about your learning, the way that you go about things, and want to inspire artists who are wanting to become more artistic but just can't seem to find their own answers, by all means, we would love to speak with you. Contact me either here through Twitch. I'm also on Discord. Both of us are as the Docs Fox. I will see about getting a link somewhere for that later on for myself so that I can be contacted. We'll work on that for soon. In the meantime, I think Spirey's just about set up. She's loading up her stuff right now. Krita is loading.
I'm pretty sure the contestants that they're joining along can probably do a lot better than me and Spirey can right now.
It could be very well true. I mean, doing it under any kind of time constraint, it makes it difficult because it's not your process. You are now being dictated a certain time. So it's always a little upsetting. Code Wizard, thank you so much for joining. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Welcome.
Also with your wife over there in the New Zealand, not the Netherlands. Let's see here. Wolfsinger says, what about those who can't even draw stick figures? Hey, I'll tell you this much, okay? There's a whole genre of stick figures that blew up in the early 2000s, and they still live to this day. If you can do a stick figure...
And tons of animations,
And
too.
tons of animations, too, exactly. I think there's a couple games just on stick figures, too, that are...
Stick fighting animations are like...
Yeah.
If you can do that with stick fighting, then you can start branching out from stick fighting to bigger animation. Stick fighting is a perfectly legit way to start yourself out. Werewolf Mutt says, I can't even draw a straight line because my hands are naturally shaky. You know what? I have the same issue.
Line tools.
Yeah, line tools. What's the tool that you use for you to help smooth the lines out?
Lazy Nizumi.
It's called Lazy Nizumi. It's actually a line smoother. It kind of works like a vector brush. Mm-hmm. You put a line down, and it factors in the weights and the direction, and it will allow you to create a line based off of the overall averaging of where you drew it. You can also change the tolerances of it too. So it's a really, really handy tool, and she uses it for her art. So that's something you can look up. Make sure it works with your art program of choice. Okay, are we set up?
I think so. Looking for a paper so I can write down those. Do you mind telling me all of the guidelines that we're supposed to be following for this one?
The subject that you're working with is an assassin.
Assassin.
Uh-huh. That is always accompanied by a wild animal and has black horns. With black horns, you can either make that part of the animal, you can make it part of the attire, or you can factor the horns on the subject itself.
Wait, so we are coloring this after we're done?
No. Just, you don't have to color it in. Like, if you want to color it in after the fact of the show, you can. But you can either make horns a part of the design, you can make the horns part of the subject, or you can make horns a part of the animal. Or
I was going to say, it's probably good just to use the term horns and just leave out the color.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so Fleety, are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, Spirey?
I think so.
Okay, make sure you get your pen and stuff all in place. Things are loading up. There you go.
Are we ready to rumble? Oh, wait.
Just about. I'm going to give you 15 minutes and 30 seconds. Your 30 seconds is to just kind of start piecing things together, although you've probably had all that anyway. I'm going to... Let me know when you're set, honey. Both hands up when you're ready, honey. Okay, cool. She's ready. I am pressing start now. You have 30 seconds to conceptualize. When I say go, that is when you can actually draw.
Okay.
In the meantime, can Fleety use my character as a companion? It was never created yet, honestly. Gray says dramatic game show music. Wolf also says Legend of the Hidden Temple music plays. And Gray agrees with yes! Yes, Queen Slay!
Oh my goodness, yes, the good old Nickelodeon game
5
shows.
seconds, 4 seconds,
Oh,
3
that's
seconds,
not enough
2
time.
seconds,
I can't
1 second.
conceptualize like that.
Begin!
Wait, no, I did that wrong.
That's frustrating. I'm just gonna keep sketching that. This program out of the way. There you go.
I had a bit of a coughing fit right there. I needed to fix that. But yeah, welcome to the show. I'm glad to have you guys here. And let's see. We're going to have our subjects here. We're having Fleety and Spirey both creating an assassin that has an animal companion. This is an original character, a heroic character, or villain character, or whatever that incorporates black horns, or just horns in general, to the design.
Let's
On the bottom
here's
left.
a show yesterday.
Ah. So on the bottom left, we have Spirey. She's starting on her design. It looks like you're both starting in the head area. And on the right, we have... On the top right, we have Fleety doing his design. Both of them are starting on a head. It's a very, very bold move. Let's see if it pays off. Oh, Spirey. I like that. I like that. Almost looks like you have a bit of World of Warcraft influence going on right there. Werewolf, the echo really amplifies the volume loudly. Yes, that's the intended point. That's why I love that on my mixing board. I'm so happy I discovered it, and I abuse the crap out of it.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, I do. It's awesome. I like doing things like that are really, really stupid, too. Yeet.
No. Don't use that word. It's not allowed in this
I know
house.
it's not allowed. We have shunned our daughter Jubilee from using that word, and yet I'm now using it ironically just for the echo machine. Doing pretty good. 2 minutes have elapsed, and we're already getting some pretty good facial structures for you two. Looks like Fleety's getting a little indecisive with the head objects, but I think I understand what he's going for. Trust your gut. Trust your gut with this. You can always revamp later if you need to. Better to get it down on the paper and then to adjust it after the fact. You can always erase.
But it goes really large.
Yep, that happens. Let's see here. Skywolf says, I have to do the same with my daughter for the word yeet. Yep. Gray von Grodich says, yeet, fleek, and lit are banned here too. LOL. We are not the only ones. Yep.
Yay.
Yay, we are not the only ones.
They
But you got DJ.
understand.
You gotta start training them how to start doing YOLO.
Oh, no, we don't do that. I forbid her from doing the scissor. I forbidden her from dabbing. If she does dab, I will dab back on her by grounding her.
I never get the dab. I never understand the dab part.
I can get it, but she's not allowed to do the scissor. She's not allowed to dab unless she actually does something good. Then I'll let her dab. She's not allowed to yeet. Grace, Wolfsinger's asking what yeet is. Don't worry about it. Just accept it as a term that we'll never use, okay? Gray says, we don't speak in slag. Skywolf says, I completely agree. My daughter is 13. Dabbing was banned in our house. Yep. Werewolf Mutt says, dab is a bad thing? It depends. Getting dab is kind of like the same thing as getting dunked on. So, at least that's how I interpret it. And so, I don't allow dabs to happen unless they are ready to get dunked on back. Nev says, my best friend's daughter says, Ree! All the time. So does our daughter.
No, that's another one.
That's another one, yeah. We don't like... It's funny to hear it in, the meme stuff when you hear the different image macros being like, Ree! Like, I'm not going to lie. It's funny to hear that. But when your daughter starts saying it, you're like, no, you are an intellectual. Stop it.
So your bird's teaching your daughter how to speak.
No, not at all. Not at all. What else do we got? Gray says, yeah, the dab makes someone look like a victim of an invisible ninja. And then Nim, I reply back with a Kala! Gray was responding to Nev, saying, I reply with Kala when they use re. Oh, Ricola. Okay, I get it now. Ricola! Oh, wait, no,
that's an old joke.
That is an old joke. But if we're going to do the Ricola, I gotta do it correctly. We don't need the echoing. We need this one. That's right. And then
I'm surprised anyone remembers Ricola.
Oh, I definitely remember it.
Ricola! Ricola!
Good times, good times. Werewolf says, when I call my mom, I'm like, it's me against Margaret. If you know where that's from.
Doesn't ring a bell, really.
Not offhand, but that's okay. That's not for me necessarily to understand. We are at 9 minutes, and you guys have some very strong-looking candidates here. I like it. I like it. Spirey's already gotten to the point where she has incorporated the wild animal, so that's very nice. Fleety has most of the upper torso and the face design incorporating a hat, too, so it looks like that's going very splendidly. Very nice. To remind the audience, for those who are joining up with us, we are having a original character standoff competition where each person has to design an original character that is an assassin with a wild animal pet and horns incorporated into the design of some form or fashion. Werewolf says, Ray Stevens. And Gray says, Bad Fox, I can't draw outside of an architectural drafting. Yeah, at least you can punch yourself out of a paper bag, right? If you can do that, then you win at life. I don't care how bad you are. Skywolf says, when my daughter says, OMG, I just bust out and say, it's Jason Bourne! I get that one. That's a good one. I think oh my god, it's Jason Bourne. Yeah, I love those memes. Those are a good one too. Especially when it's like one of the edgy nerds who's got like the sword and they're like wielding it very badly, and then you say, oh my god, it's Jason Bourne. Those are my favorite right there. Wolfsinger says, could be a clown with a big bicycle horn. Yeah, it could be that. That is a horn. Although it does state specifically it's a black horn, but I'll allow it. If you want to have like a bicycle horn, that's a good way to twist up the term for horn. That's good. I like it. As long as you're not blowing your horn, that's not allowed on Twitch. Don't do that. Don't do that. We want to keep a good rapport. This is only the first official episode.
No eggplant horn.
No eggplant horns. We don't need eggplant emojis on these guys.
I swear that like effect has been overdone.
Oh yeah. I would not count an eggplant as a horn. Sorry. That's a gourd. Let's see. We're at 6 minutes, 30 seconds.
Left?
Yes, left.
Okay.
No, right. Wop, wop. Let's see. Gray says, I had to constantly break my sister out of saying shut up after someone says something amazing. I've yelled back at her with take your own beeping advice. I kind of screwed that up. Let me try that again. I don't think I have no, that's the wrong one. Let me go over here. There it is. Okay. Take your own advice. Gray says, you're good. Yep, I got you. Man, I like where these are turning out. Gray actually now has the full body done. Spy has a lot of the upper torso done, and it's turning out very, very well. She's got 2 of the elements done. And it looks like Gray has 2 of the elements done. He's just needing 1 more element to meet the rules. And yes, at the end of this, you're going to have to see about naming your characters too.
Oh, yay.
Werewolf says, we can't see. What do you mean you can't see? Spirey's pictures are there on the bottom left, and my screen, which is featuring Fleet's picture, is up there on the top right. Gray says, I'm not arting. Yes, but are you farting? That's
Have a
as
good
close
night.
to arting as you're going to be.
Tell my sister good night. She's headed for bed.
Good night,
Good
sissy.
night.
It's showing the image with the car in the tree. Oh, it's something... Hold on, let me try something. Car on the screen. How about now? I just switched up the thing. You don't have it on yours, right? Do you? Okay, yeah. Should be showing the...
Has it not been showing anything this whole time?
You might need to reload there, Werewolf, because it might be frozen on your end. I don't know. It could have been something like that. Yeah, go ahead and refresh. That would probably be the best thing. What's that, honey? We are at 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Wolfsinger says it looks fine. Grave also says it looks fine. Werewolf, yep, that's what it was. He was locked on his side. Yeah, sometimes there's hiccups in the stream. And
Yay, technology.
indeed, if there's hiccups sometimes when there's the loss, it'll carry the audio because it's easier to maintain, whereas the image itself is a little bit more difficult. Ooh, I know I lowered the bit rate for streaming here, but I might need to lower it more so that more people won't have such a high demand on downloading the bandwidth needed for it. Nonetheless, I don't know, having this much bandwidth, though, does allow for a lot of really good clarity, as you can see now. All right, ladies and gents, we are at 3 minutes. Start getting your final touches and final requirements done for your pictures. Werewolf says, normally I never have a problem because my net speed is over 200 megabytes down. Very nice. Yeah, you're probably on the same end that I am. AT&T fiber over here. We're supposed to be getting 300 down and 300 up. We're currently at about 150 just because the lines themselves haven't fully met the threshold. Spectrum. Ah, no, Spectrum. You're not having to pay for the business line, are you? Gray says, my condolences, Werewolf. Yeah, absolutely, man. I was with Charter for the longest time just because they were the hometown internet. And then, like, after I started actually getting service from them, I realized what was screwed up from it. So I promptly left them and went over to AT&T once I found out that they had fiber, and I have never gone back. And considering I'm only having to pay a little less than $100 for having 300 up and 300 down, I'm pretty happy. You know what? I'm paying less. I don't remember. I'll look at my bill later on. It's not necessary knowledge. Werewolf says it's only... Sorry, go ahead.
Say fiber, what's that?
Fiber? You don't know what fiber is?
Oh, I know what fiber is, but it's like where I live. It's like fiber. What's that? It's a myth.
They're not gonna put that cord out in the middle of Oklahoma from nowhere. Yeah, not for at least $200 a month though. Werewolf says it's about best here, honestly, and now AT&T. I've only got 7 down, and it died every time. Yeah, that's the old copper loop that they had. I actually used to sell AT&T fiber and other stuff as it started moving into St. Louis, which is coincidentally where we live now. And all the old AT&T stuff was really bad. It was like 25 megabytes down and like less than 2 megabytes upload. It was horrible. So yeah, I know where you're coming from. You're probably still on that old loop. Might want to see if you have the fiber in your network. I would definitely recommend switching or upgrading to it. It is worth the money. So that being said, 45 seconds for both of you. So time to wrap it up. Wrap it up, ladies. Werewolf says, I live in a country, so I can't get fiber. Yep, that's what I suspected. Skywolf, everyone around us has fiber except for my street. And Wolfsinger says Spectrum here too. Aw, man. I'm so sad you guys are suffering under Spectrum. Ugh. It's okay. You know, you got to do what you got to do. I had to be on Comcast for a while when I was in California, so I'd know the pain.
Ooh,
15 seconds. CenturyLink. Oh, yeah, that's another one. Oh, I've heard a lot of things about CenturyLink, but not nearly as bad as, like, Comcast. Scumcast. Yes, that's right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's time.
Okay.
All right, pens down, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what you got.
Ow.
So, first subject that we have, we're going to look at our guest, Fleet. What do we have? Fleet. Describe to us your OC.
My OC is a female assassin from kind of a suburban western area.
Uh-huh.
She's decking out, she's rocking a leather jacket and pants and riding gear for a motorcycle, also with the nice little ball bracers on her hands for assassin work, nice little horn spikes on the edges of her boots.
Very nice.
Blade weapon, she's got little, cow horns on her hat. She's got goggles, a bandana covering her face.
Now, what's the ram-looking thing that you got off to the right there?
She has a... I get my brain to work. She has a snake that is mutated. It's got ram's horns on it.
Ah, post-apocalyptic, kind of.
Yep.
I like the double-breasted feature that you got right there. That's nice.
And that's the character.
Indeed. It's very, very nice. What's her name?
Rambling Rosie.
Rambling Rosie. Rambling Rosie, the apocalyptic motorcycle rider. Assassin, yes.
Yep.
Yes. Very nice, very nice. Very good and very accomplished. See what happens when you get more time to explore those details? Starts to really flesh out from there. Very good.
Less of the tofu.
A lesson from Tofu, that's for sure. Tofu will teach us all how to better organize our stuff, that's for sure. Spari, what do we got here?
I have a drow demon hybrid.
Nice.
And she's got a bit of a cowl scarf. I didn't quite finish the scarf, though. She's got a raven sidekick.
Okay.
Who's got horns as well.
Ooh, nice.
Very nice.
She's got some sort of runic tattoo going down her right arm with some vials of poison.
So almost like a siren, but not nearly as, like, definitely more evil-ish.
And then she's got a gauntlet on her left arm, some teeth from her victims as trophies. She's got a dagger on her right hip. And then going on down, she's got some spiked stockings with some spiked boots.
So you both went with the spiked boots, but yours happen to have 2 instead of 1. Talk about competitive. Nice. I like it. I like it. What's her name?
What's her name?
That's the worst part for you, is trying to figure out a name, huh?
Tooth Fairy.
The Tooth Fairy? The Tooth Fairy. I like it.
Fitting. Very
That's
fitting.
very nice. Oh, the Tooth Fairy. That's almost SCP-like. That's awesome. That's great. That's great. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to spend the next 5 minutes for review of who do you like more? Who did the better job on this challenge? Was it Fleet or was it Spirey? Spirey with the Tooth Fairy and Fleet with, what was it again? I'm horrible.
Rambling Rosie.
Rambling Rosie. Give us your votes. Put it over in the, put it on over in the chat there. I could start up a straw poll, I guess, but I still need to figure out how to do that precisely from this without having to, like, change a ton of elements. But yeah, let's put in your votes. Let us know in the chat who made the better design concept for a hero or villain OC for an assassin. Who did the better
wins
job?
a trip to Hawaii tonight?
This is purely for bragging rights, okay? While we're doing that, we'll start doing our wrap-ups there. Fleet, thank you so much for having fun with us tonight. We nailed exactly what we wanted the show to be like for every guest, and you were absolutely amazing in being able to accommodate with our questions and proddings into your methods. Thank you so much for being so receptive.
That was a lot of fun.
Glad to work with you both. It's been a very big pleasure. If I can get my mouth to work.
I have that happen all the time. It's like there's this hole in the side of my cheek, right? Let's see here. Wolfsinger says, who wins the Cupid doll?
Cupid doll.
I don't know who wins it. I guess whoever you vote for winning the thing. Who?
If I win the Cupid doll, Spyrie can have it to look creepy.
You know, I just realized. No, who wins the Chungert the Dim Art Award of Excellency for this challenge?
There you go.
There.
I think we need to make that. We need to make like a little badge.
Yeah, we need to make a badge, a Chungert badge of art excellence. Which
Yes.
of our was it the guest or is it the co-host? Who wins the art challenge? Let us know who gets the Chungert Award of Excellence.
I can see that now. The Chungert Award being like this little icon avatar that is like permanently follows you everywhere on all your social media. Everyone's like, "What is that?" It's like it's a long story.
Before we get going though, where since we are basically going to helping you out with your networking and stuff, where can people find you to see about maybe commissioning you for your works or for your time and training as an artist?
Some links for you.
Okay.
Get people looking at your stuff.
Well, I've given the links to Docs Fox already, but for those listening, I can be found in 3 places right now. FleetWolf on Fur Affinity, that's my main area where I do a lot of things. Fleety on So Furry, and that's kind of hit and miss on that one. The crowds there are kind of smaller, but you can find me on So Furry. And for those of you who remember Ye Old thing, Newgrounds is CafeCorgi.
Okay.
Very good.
We'll definitely
very good.
put those up on the video itself during post, and we'll actually put up some links in the chat here in a second.
And if any of you, if any of the artists out there are looking for mentoring or something, I do have my own Discord channel, but I can't give it out because my creative partner is worried about security. So,
Of course.
drop a line with Spyrie or Spice. Spyfry?
Spyfry?
Either
Spyrie
or.
is fine too. She goes by
Okay.
Spyrie mostly, but for our
Spyfry is my nickname.
Spyfry is her nickname.
But just drop a DM with Spyfry or Docs Fox. They know how to get a hold of me in Discord, and I can get a hold of you that way.
And we'll have our own links for Discord too, either in the Twitch or in YouTube as well when we upload this.
And eventually there'll be a website, but that's still in the making.
Absolutely. Well, I think the results are in based off of Gray, who set up a nice little matrix of who wins the competition. I am pleased to announce that today's Chungert award-winning artist is Fleet. Congratulations, Fleet, with your Ramblin' Rosie.
Yay! Oh,
Yay! Good job. Good job. Well, thank you all for...
She's
no,
beautiful.
go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
I was going to say, and I'll just do the Solomon thing. I will cut the baby in half, and she can have one half. I'll have the other.
Wait,
Hey, it's just a chocolate coin
what
anyway,
do I
right?
get? The butt or the head?
Flip a coin.
I would have only been more proud if you had said, I cannot legally disclose that information.
At least in the U.S.
Yeah.
Down
thank
the
you.
middle, Skywolf says.
Yeah, thank you for participating with us today. It's been a pleasure, and if we need you in the future for some more stuff, we would be more than happy to delve more into your mind and more of the stuff that you seem to create in the future.
Always
That's
happy
it.
to help.
That said, thank you guys, everybody, guests included, for joining us tonight on our first edition of Heavy Artillery. And we wish you all the best. Hope to see your own fan art in our Discord, in our Dropbox. And may we see you in the future every Tuesday from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock Central Time. You can count on us doing something with the art show with a guest or just by ourselves. We can play with ourselves. That's
No, don't say it that way.
oh,
No,
oh,
okay. So turn it off. Turn it off. Turn it off. Turn it
Turn
off.
it off,
Turn it off. Turn it off. Turn it off.
Bye.
Turn it off.